trail. You're on a golf cart, you can drive in the grass. Why do you need to be on the
Safety
trail?
reasons. It's not meant for that.
Well, it's just stupid.
Now, can a regular police officer also get training and be DOT certified where they can ask certain questions?
Most of the DOTs through the state.
Okay.
I mean, we've got a couple troopers in town.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, but they're not gonna be here constant.
Yeah, they're not-
Speaking of that, what was going on out here Sunday on 31? 6 state troopers I saw between
Here in
here and that way.
They had a pursuit on it for coming out of Howard County.
Were they looking for somebody?
Yeah,
Made me slow down.
They got a chase coming down.
There were 6 state troopers on it. I mean, seriously,
I think it was 700 West Howard County got a chase. So it was a mile west of 31. So they might have stood there.
I can't remember who I talked to, but they said something about a local officer can actually be trained.
DOT certified.
Yeah. And maybe spend a little extra money out to help.
Can you deputize
You
it
know.
around? We'll get around there.
If
Yeah,
I know,
right
I'd
there.
rather spend that
And that's
extra
a
money.
truck inspection for, your brakes and. all
Right.
that stuff.
Well, where you can ask for their
Yeah.
Are we ready
invoice,
to
or
call
you going to
the
Tim
meeting
or
order?
where?
Yeah. Let's go.
I'm ready.
Thanks,
Let's get
Jim.
it.
Anything else?
I'm hungry. Thanks, Jeff.
I'll call the meeting in order and start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay.
First item on the agenda are the minutes from the last meeting.
Make a motion to approve the minutes of February 24th.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve the minutes as submitted from the last meeting. All those in favor of the motion signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Any amendments to the agenda tonight? Hearing none, this is the first meeting of the month, and we'll start with Board of Works and Safety.
Oh, we had a really pretty productive and busy meeting today. We did not end up having interviews for police. I'll let Cemetery and Park Board get their updates. There's some good stuff in there that Diana's been working on. We got a lot of updates from the planning department. First, we had a hearing for 525 East Jefferson, which was a good one for us to kind of get our arms around. That's the bio property on Jefferson, and just talk to him and our expectations for properties like that, maybe no one's living in, maybe they are, but making sure it stays clean and the grass stays cut. Got an update on 327 and a half North Independence, actually pretty positive. They inspected all of Timothy Six's properties and they're actually pretty pleased with the condition of all of them. So this seems to be a one-off that they are rectifying pretty quick. 461 North Condi came in, got their permit. He's moving stuff out. That will be demolished very soon. That's been a property on the radar for a while. And then we got an update on 421 Northeast. I can't remember what that one was.
I think it was just a general code violation.
Code violation, yeah. And then we got an update on the red brick. They did come in after we fined them and kind of give an order to them demolition. They came in, got a permit, and they started gutting it. Got an engineer involved, so that is at least being updated, maybe into a usable property. We got a lot of updates from Dylan at the street department. They'll be hanging flower baskets soon. Soon they're going to be working on the intersections in town. Probably repaving the wings, restriping some things, updating the bump outs to make them more safe and appealing, and instead of having ruts in them and things like that. New stop signs. So lots of updates. Keenan will probably have more for everybody there, but lots of good stuff coming out of the street department. So kudos to all them. We got an update from the Arts Commission, which was awesome. They got a grant called a Creative Convergence Grant, where they're going to have artists and residents come to town and have workshops with everybody they can. It's supposed to be a cross-generational thing. And then they've also set and approved their priorities and goals for the year, or for the next few years. So it seems like they're really getting some momentum going. And then we were awarded the CCMG grant for 2025. That'll be at East Street and Independence, and it'll be like West Street. Lots of big updates for the infrastructure, stormwater. So lots going on. I felt like it was a really good, productive meeting, and yeah, getting some stuff done.
It's spring. Very
Yeah,
good.
everybody wants it done now. So.
Cemetery board.
We have not had a meeting. You have a report in your packet. Looks like we had 3 barrels, 1 cremation, 6 lots sold for a total of $4,200.
Very good. Park board.
The new park board did meet. First meeting, elected officers, and unfortunately, I did not write down who the officers were. There were only 4 at the meeting, though, so there was enough positions to go around.
Yeah.
The only real things we did go over golf fees for next year, which you have in your packet that we'll vote on tonight. There was just an update from the mayor about the DNR grant that still needed to just be updated, but they sent back with questions. Diana shared with us today also that the firm that is assembling the new playground equipment called and said they would be here this week instead of next week because of the weather. And then she also shared with us that she'd had a call about the old baseball fields, that there was some interest in holding baseball practices out there, which a lot of teams have looked for places where they could practice. And she had some old bleachers she was going to drag over so that they had some place to sit. And that's pretty much it for the park board.
Very good. Utility board.
Hold on just a minute, I've got a question on the park.
Oh, yep.
If we're capable of practicing, why can't we turn that back into baseball diamonds?
They did remove the western 2 fields, so those aren't in existence currently today. Babe Ruth, maybe you could, maybe you couldn't. It'd be a question of safety, I think, would be the concern.
Okay.
Without the fencing.
I don't think they did any groundwork on the Babe Ruth field.
No.
So that, okay. Utilities, financials came out, I believe last week. Everything is good. The West Street project is started and going well. Waiting on the weather to get the water tower sandblasted and painted. And I think that was pretty much it.
Very good. Moving on with the agenda, no items under new or old business from my report. Just more comments on some of the infrastructure items related to, as Nathan remarked on downtown, we do have the stop signs in to replace the ones downtown. These will be installed such that the wind will be less of a challenge to them. So we're going to be working in the month of March, identifying specifically where those will be placed. So this will be a project team of myself, Dylan from the Municipal Services, Corey Mahan from City Engineer, and then Chief Stout, to make sure that we identify not only from a visual perspective, but from a safety and legal perspective to make sure that they're within the spaces they need to be. Nathan also mentioned we were awarded the Community Crossings grant for 2025. This is NDOT has increased the opportunity to maximize that grant. So we did maximize that with a $1.5 million grant from NDOT. This would be the city's largest CCMG project. And it matches very much the sentiment of West Street. So West Street was originally a stormwater project. We know that there's some drainage issues in that quadrant of the city. The next project addresses the very similar challenges on the east side. So we begin with the outlet to the creek. This will be a pretty large pipe, larger than the one on West Street, understanding that their challenges with water over there are actually worse. So it begins there. It could be a 2 or 3 phase project as we try to work north from that area, but we have to get the inlet first. And that's, march up East Street 2 blocks, and it will capture about a block, half a block of Independence. So it sets us on a good course and sets the infrastructure in place to make some good, meaningful progress over there. Thought there was one more item, but I forgot to write it down. So that will conclude my report until I think about what the third item may have been. I think it was just general updates on West Street. Progress has been slow, but there's been a lot of utilities that we had to identify and find with hand digging. So we're able to get most of it just with the excavator, but knowing that there are water mains and sewers, gas lines, and they're all intersecting in different areas. So it was very cumbersome work and slow, but they've made some really good progress, and today I know was a good day. So proud of that work, and I want to thank Dylan. Dylan's been on site helping us to manage that project. So that has been very valuable to the project of this scope. Moving on to resolutions and ordinances. The first is Resolution 2025-02, resolution adopting the 2025 Tipton golf fees. This is our annual exercise to approve those fees. Michael was expecting to be here tonight, but today, because of the weather, is the first day of the golf course being open. So I suspect that he's, without his staff, stuck out there right now. So you have in your packet some information, the proposed 2025 fee schedules, his forecasting with those adjustments, what revenues will be projected to be. Mike has taken a more business approach to the management of the golf course, is trying to focus more on revenue generation with some mild improvements or increases in the fees.
Make a motion to pass resolution 2025-02.
Second or third?
We have a motion and a second to approve resolution 2025-02. All those in favor of the motion signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Who
Motion
got that
carries.
second?
Next on the agenda is resolution 2025-03. It's a resolution with a list of prepared by the clerk treasurer of old outstanding checks. These are checks that exceed the normal duration of time that a bank or depositor would accept a check. But we've got to go through the exercise of acknowledging those as outstanding and old checks. Further questions on this resolution?
Move we adopt resolution 2025-03.
Second.
A motion and a second to approve resolution 2025-03. All those in favor of the motion signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next are claims.
I move we approve for payment claims 178767 through 178864 in the amount of $3,832,505.25.
Second.
There's a motion and a second to approve claims. All those in favor of the motion signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Aye.
Nathan. We are now at petitions, comments, and memorials.
Wanted to say two quick things, so good questions. Wanted to congratulate the Tipton Main Street for getting accredited again with the Indiana Main Street. That's a lot of hard work. And he and I are familiar with how much work that usually takes. A lot of paperwork, a lot of feedback, a lot of wrangling volunteers. So we have the Main Street president here, and kudos to them. I think it's a good thing. The second thing is you guys are all aware of what's going on at the State House. This is probably going to be the toughest budget that this council's seen. Even Rick, who's been here for the longest, it is going to be tough. And the state, we don't know what, but the state has made it clear they're going to reform property and/or income tax. And this is probably going to be the hardest time the city's had in the next few years. So all I could say is it's like a pie, and the pieces keep being cut, and we're being told try to feed everyone with what's left. And the only way we get out of this, honestly, is we have to have a bigger pie, because the state is going to keep taking more and more of everything. They're cross the filling every single piece they can by hamstringing us. And the only way we grow that pie is people. We need people to live here. So we have access to property tax, income tax, their kids going to the school and everything. So be cognizant of that at budget time this year, and we should try to support the mayor and everything he can do to get people to live here in the next, in our term that we have left.
Yeah, when this first came up several weeks ago, I sent Tammy a text and asked her in her spare time. In her spare time, I said, just how much is the city's revenue? What percentage of our revenue is property tax? Well, she said it's around 47%, which is a huge number. So for every dollar that they reduce that, I mean, that's a killer. Yes.
Well, we need to get creative.
It's
Keegan
gonna
shared
be-
ways with me, and I'm sure he shared with you, You know, what we spend maybe on landlines that we don't need, or maybe looking at different providers for certain services that would be cheaper or even free. We don't know.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to start thinking sharper, and it's gonna, I don't wanna do it. There's gonna be tough decisions we have to make with certain things, I think, until we can get more people to live here, frankly. That's the symptom we're seeing of places like BMO didn't close because of the bump outs, people. It closed because it had declining
Right.
deposits for a decade, and because they had a loan officer in there, my memory. You want a loan, you call Naperville.
Good years.
So that's a symptom of a declining community, not because of, you know, we relinquished 28. So I'm excited. I think we're on the cusp of something better. It's just gonna take patience and a lot of hard decisions, and wouldn't want to do it with anybody else than the 4 council people, Tammy and Keegan, so I'm excited.
Well, I know Commissioner Powell updated on SB1 this morning in the commissioner meeting, and it has been changed some.
It's going to change, it's
It's been-
just how
it's
much
been
it's gonna be
reduced.
cut. But it's going to cut, and it's not going away. They'll
Right.
do it again next year.
I agree.
And even though we have a surplus as a state, they're gonna force communities to compete. They're gonna force consolidation, I think, of townships, or doing away with them completely, possibly.
That's scary.
They're gonna force us to compete and really get competitive and creative with our budgets.
The good news is that we've begun those discussions with our
Absolutely.
department heads now, which is a bit unusual to start this early. We've just got into 2025, but we're already working on 26's budget, knowing that, as Nate mentioned, we're getting down into the weeds of critiquing internet and phone budgets to understand what is the true use of those, and can we as a city, each department, not through their own challenges or failures, but every department has negotiated their own rate with TDS. And now we're asking the question, can we as a city consolidate all of those and negotiate one price, one agreement with TDS? So things like that are happening now. It's pretty deep into the weeds, and then the communication between department heads and this council will probably be, as a result, far greater than before, just as we understand what the priorities are, what are the expectations, and what do we hope to get accomplished with the budget next year.
Sweet.
Okay.
I'd like to congratulate the Blue Devil basketball team for 4-peat.
No doubt, no small accomplishment there.
We play Manchester in regionals,
Mhm.
and they're very good.
Yeah.
And they are very good, yes.
Any other yes?
Aaron Hill, 163 Market Road. I spoke with Tim and Rich a couple weeks ago at the Trails meeting, and I want to thank you for responding to my email about backyard chickens.
Yep.
I just wanted to see if there'd been any more talk about that. You said something about the
Correct.
ordinance
You
committee.
pass on to the ordinance committee. So currently we're reviewing golf carts and the truck ordinance. So that become part of that natural conversation as it gets submitted to that committee, but then report out as they review. No new information since that email I sent you last week, but
Okay.
probably making progress on what that
Yes.
could be.
Okay, and just something to add to that, I just didn't know, I understand not wanting to allow everyone within the city limits due to lot size, but maybe possible exemption for lot sizes that have more than a half an acre or an acre.
Mhm.
I know that a couple of years ago, they passed had something to do with secondary dwellings, and they kind of got around some of the permit process for properties. I know that there's only like 26 properties in Tipton that would qualify for having at least a half an acre. So maybe something to think about.
Appreciate that.
Mr. Hill, you live on the edge of town. You live on Market or close
Yep.
to Market?
Market.
That's what I-
Yeah, right across from the co-op.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I have an acre and a half, so I've got lots of room and only one neighbor. So
Yeah.
thank you.
Thanks, Aaron.
Thank you.
I'll beat you to it.
I just have something quick for the truck ordinance while you're working on it. Engine braking. It's awesome at 9:45 at night when you just get your kid to bed and you got a truck, just lay it on and go all the way around the curve. So I know lots of communities have that as a sign, another sign, right?
Mhm.
Very right, yeah.
But I think some of it's vindictive drivers that are just saying, screw you, I don't want to slow down, I don't want to do that, but
They would
we
do
could
that.
add that to it.
I could tell
They
you
would do
that
that.
the compression brakes, jake braking is against city noise ordinance. So what we've done, there's a, and Chief Stout referenced it earlier, incident came up last week related to that. So what I had Dylan do is conduct an audit on the 4 gateways into the city to determine if we had that signage up. We don't. So what we're going to do is order the signs and they'll be installed when we get those ordered. So
Cool.
motion already in action there.
Thank you very much. Solved all my problems.
And I do,
So those signs, we actually do have them. I
Oh,
found
good.
them. I guess they were put up last year
Mhm.
and then, we're told to take them down by the state. So
Yeah, so I think as I recall in an email I found, we'll need a permit from the state on 19 likely and 19 north.
correct.
The other depends on where you place it east.
You know, if we're gonna put them at the gateway, which would be
Yeah,
state highway also,
correct.
really
Okay.
the only one we could put up is
On the west side.
on the west side.
That's good to know.
That's the only one he cares about.
Yeah. Problem
That is
solved.
probably the most highest impact, because that's the most residential.
Yeah.
area.
I just found out that they were up at one point. They were up for like 3 days, and then the state told us we had to take them
Be
down.
nice,
Yeah.
even if we got the one up on the west side, to let the state trooper, Adam know, state trooper.
Yeah.
That dude loves pulling people over out there, so he'd be all excited if we get
Yeah.
something else to stop people for.
Okay.
We can
Yeah.
definitely get the one up, and I can work towards seeing if
Yeah, I'll see if there's a permit in that old email.
see
Or
if they'll let us put them up again.
they said because the email that originated I shared with you came from NDOT, and NDOT was suggesting this. You just have to go through our process to put
Yeah.
them up. So it sounds like we didn't follow the process prior to. And okay, thank you, Don.
I know that's enforceable. Not speaking from experience or nothing.
Roberta.
Leslie, thank you for addressing the semi stuff. Only because I was in 2 businesses this last week, and that's not directly to me, but that's all I heard was the noise of the trucks and the braking. And so those people were unhappy.
Oh, correct.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want those people to leave. But thank you for addressing that. My second question, and I promised someone who I was kind of having breakfast with today. Any movement on any baseball field placement?
Yeah, so we're working through scoping a place right now. What we're in discussions right now is an operating agreement to manage the operation and management of that site. So it's in conjunction with the school corporation. What I would
It's an actual site.
correct.
Okay.
What I would say is that we're a long ways away from a commitment of a site. What we're doing right now is due diligence to see can we come to an agreement on the placement of it.
Good enough. His grandkids need to play baseball.
We understand top priority for the city of Tipton, I assure you.
And I promise I won't stop any more trucks.
Well, for your own
Really
safety,
ticked
Yeah.
that night.
Why is Amy Woodrow?
Andy.
Andy Humphrey, 306 Rosie Street. Is there an ordinance for if you think somebody is living in a property with no utilities?
Code enforcement.
That's code
Yeah.
enforcement
It would fall under an unsafe building if it lacked.
and health department.
Planning department.
Evan Piskey, I think is his name.
Yeah,
Second floor,
Sorry, who?
second floor of the courthouse.
there's a phone number you can.
Evan.
call, too.
It's called planning.
He's
I'll get you the number and email.
Thank you.
He's the enforcement officer up there. And it also falls back with health department. They get into it with health department to take them with them because it's a violation of health code.
Thanks, Andy. Bob?
Come on up.
Thank you, Keegan. You guys were talking about weight limits earlier. Is there a map of what the weight limits are
6063,
on
isn't it?
the streets? Like,
Sure.
so now it's at-
I've not seen a map representing I think ours just identifies the streets that can have the 20, I think our ordinance is 26,000 pounds. So I think that would be something that would be convenient to have as a map that shows weight limits as they relate to the roadways.
Well, I would think if you're gonna try to connect something to weight limit,
Sure.
so is that 26,000, is that every street, or I assume not?
I assume not too. I think the residential areas are governed under a different weight limit, but I don't have that section of the ordinance.
And you can give that to me on that if you want.
Yep.
Thank you.
Anyone else for the good of the cause?
Move we adjourn.
Second.
Motion and second to adjourn the meeting. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Meeting adjourned. Thank you.
My bad, right?
Rich, did you say, did you just
Take
second?
that.
Yeah.
No, I moved. I moved.
You made the motion. Rich.
Who's that?
And he's the code
Rich.
enforcement officer, and if it is health code, he'll get with the health department.